I'm ChosenArchitect, and this is All The Mons. With this being episode 20, that means it's World Download Day. And so if you're a supporter of any tier, be sure to get your World Download. Of course, if you're a supporter, whether that is on Twitch, Patreon, here as a YouTube member, or through the Discord, you gain access so long as you got your account linked to this World Download and the Downloads channel. So be sure to check that out. Link to the Discord down in the description below. All right, let's get on with today's video. Now, last episode was kind of wild as we gathered all of the ingredients needed to be able to make Allthemodium, Unobtainum, and Vibranium gear. But now that entire trip was not just to level up and get our gear going. No. It was all because I want to make more balls. And not just any old ball, for example, like this quick ball here. I want to make unobtainium balls. Because why play the All The Mons if we're not going to utilize all the mods stuff? I mean, that would make no sense at all. And so today I've devised myself a plan. I want to get access to unobtainium balls, which says it'll give us a 10 times catch rate, base catch rate, and then a 30 times for legendary Pokemon, which seems absolutely ridiculous. And we basically have all of the infrastructure up to be able to make this. Biggest problem whenever we go to actually make a ball like this is going to be, well, the Unobtainium and the Allthemodium and the Vibranium. And so that's why I went out and farmed it. So that way we could now make more, because once you have a little bit, you can make more of it. How exactly am I going to make more of it? Well, there's a couple of ways we could go about it. We could make seeds, but these seeds do require very special dirt that needs to be underneath them, which isn't too difficult for us to do, but this is a pretty slow process. But instead, what we could do is farm up the ore. So if we do this, we could gather quite a bit more, and we can use Industrial Foregoing's resource production utilizing an ore laser base. But notice it does require a pickaxe in order for this to work, and it is going to require different biomes depending on which ore we're farming. So I think it's time. It's time that we industrial foregoing. Now, something I do want to mention, which is kind of cool. We do have plastic sheets that we're making from Oratech, and the industrial foregoing mod also utilizes plastic sheets, and it has its own plastic sheet technically that you end up making. But in this case, we can substitute these plastic sheets that we're making for Oratech, but we still are going to need latex, which is a main component that is going to be used in crafting down the road for industrial foregoing. To be able to produce latex, we're going to utilize fluid extractors, and there are some specific logs that we can use that are better than others. Acacia logs is one of the better logs that we can use here, and placing them down, this is just going to farm. Even without having any power, it is going to technically start farming some latex. Now, to make this process less manual, we can head back to our old base, pop up in here, and this goo that we have, we can now finally upgrade. That's because I decided to grab a little bit of dragon's breath before we left, and I didn't even take on the dragon. With this, we can now make a Celesti gem by using diamond blocks. I know it's very expensive, but these blocks are going to be super worth making. And there we go. All of this is now converted, which is exactly what we want to see. Go ahead and take all of this, and it doesn't need any processing after this. Now, what I'm after here is an advanced block placer. This is going to allow us to define an area that we want blocks to be placed in. So let's say, for example, I place this just like so, and I have it facing down. I can set the area that I want this to be expanded in. So just like so, let's see, we'll set it like that. Perfect. And now whatever I give this power with something like a gate, for example, and then I give it the blocks, it's just going to place all of the blocks in there for me. Now, I want access to this with our applied energistic system, and that honestly goes for any fluid that we're going to be generating with this mod. So I plan on using fluid drawers from functional storage. As far as getting the fluids out, I think these Oratech pipes are going to be more than fine, and they're really easy to configure, and we're going to be hiding them anyways. So I'm going to set them all in like this, and then you just right click to set them to pull. Lay down the cables, and there we go. We have ourselves latex. And now I just want to give it a little bit of power. Then I'll just use some camo blocks here to cover these up. Look at that. Now, to keep this restocked, I'm just going to have a crafter that's crafting acacia logs in here, utilizing our mystical agriculture essence. Just makes this so much nicer. Now, if you remember, whenever we set all of the Oratech stuff up, I did place in a storage controller that does have a bus, and I still want to utilize a storage controller, but we are going to need to probably put a higher tier upgrade inside of here. So I'm going to go ahead and just switch it with a diamond tier upgrade, and the range on this is significantly larger, encompassing our base more nicely. With that, I can just simply add this, and now we can go into Industrial Foregoing and actually see the latex. And we're gonna be able to use this for auto crafting with AE. And because we already have plastic, we don't have to worry about the dissolution chamber, or at least I don't believe so. Everything should work with our other plastic we're making from Ortec. Now in the center of the room, the dissolution chamber is what we're going to place in next, directly onto a pattern provider, allowing us to set up auto crafting. And this is by far one of the most important machines that you're going to make from Industrial Foregoing, as this thing literally crafts everything for you. The only config we really need to worry about here is the output. So the output for this, we are going to make sure and disable all sides except for the side that we actually want. So I'm going to disable everything, and the bottom is the only place we want this to push to. So we want to take the things that get crafted and send it back into the pattern provider. And then we want to make sure blocking mode is turned on here, just to make sure it doesn't decide to send random fluids and things like that into the fluid slot when it shouldn't. Outside of that, this machine is basically ready to go. And now we can start the process of making upgrades, which is something that I recommend doing immediately, and at least starting with tier 2, but it does seem like we do have other upgrades that we could make down the road, all the way up to tier 4. When you set up these auto crafts, it's nothing actually crazy here. We just need to make sure we have all of the ingredients and the fluid is actually sent out also, and we accept this as our output. And so once we have this in and we do our first request from Industrial, we will be able to see the fluid going in and it processing up. And notice this is pretty slow. This is what we want to get these speed upgrades as soon as possible. And there we go. Most machines are going to accept a speed, an efficiency, and a processing upgrade. This is where things start to really explode. And yes, you can accelerate this even further temporarily with the crystal staff. I'm going to use all of these upgrades to start upgrading all of our fluid extractors. I do want to make these faster. Now, next on the to-do list, we need to get a hold of pink slime. And this is also going to get us liquid meat. To get this meat, we need to use a mob slaughter factory, and we are going to need a range upgrade, and we put the range upgrade inside of the slot, and we can start to see the range that this is going to encompass, and we can also put some upgrades in this. And this machine is going to kill the mobs that are inside of here, and they should be able to randomly kill them, and probably kill them faster than this can actually kill them. And it does like instantly take them out, by the way, producing pink slime and meat at the same time. So all we got to give it is a gate, give it some power. So place that there, and there we go. So we have a little bit of pink slime generating and a lot more of the liquid meat. And if you were using passive mobs, you would generate more pink slime than the actual liquid meat. Something to kind of note. So I want to divide these up into 2 separate tanks. We're going to have an ender tank here and one here. And one of these is going to be dyed with brown on the top. This is going to be the liquid meat. And then this one is going to be for the pink slime. So I'm just going to dye this one with pink. And we just want to make sure that we set this to push on the correct sides. So have it push to the left for the meat and push to the right on this side. Back at the lab, I'm going to set up both of my ender tanks directly on top of a fluid drawer like so. And so just like we did over there, I'm going to assign this one brown channel, which is going to update, and that'll put out liquid meat. And this one will have pink. And then we just need to rotate this. And this is going to cause this to automatically deposit its contents into the container below. And then we can just add it to the network. And there we go. Now we can see pink slime and use it in auto crafting. Something I did discover, which has been kind of bothering me, is that I noticed that it stopped generating pink slime whenever I left this chunk area. And I know this farm is a little bit further away now from my base, but it is still chunk loaded. And for some reason, the mobs just don't seem like they're spawning when I'm not here, even though that's not how I believed the dreadful dirt worked. So what I'm thinking is I'm going to move this entire area near the new base. To do this, by the way, I'm going to use the cut paste gadget. Some things that I do recommend before cutting and pasting things is to package up your chest. You definitely don't want to pick this chest with so many items. You really don't want to use this. And I'm going to keep all of my piping upgrades and the way I had things set. Also, I'm going to take the disc out of all of this. make sure everything is set up correctly. But just about everything else, we should be able to easily just cut with the cut paste tool. And that means a right click here and a good old shift right click here. I think that's everything encompassed. Also, because of how much XP is in here, I'm going to pick up my XP container. My gym cabinet, I'm honestly kind of scared to break that thing. Do you know what? Maybe we can cardboard box this. Yeah, that'll work. Now for the fun part, hoping that I got everything inside of this. And so we'll hit cut, and it's cutting everything out of the world. Oh boy. I'm thinking somewhere underneath the base, I think that would be a good place. And this little room right here just so happens to be where we set up our mystical agriculture area. You know what? Right here would be perfect. That way we can just simply elevator down to this area if we want. And so I'm just going to go ahead, and this is where it's going to go. I'm pasting it in now. Oh my goodness, watching this happen is kind of wild. All of the things that we have worked on is fitting in here. All the redstone should still be where it was at. And hopefully this will fix our mob farm issue, which is kind of weird. So after getting it all set back up, everything is now functioning and running. And if we take a look here, things are now working as they should. Yes, our pink slime is now actively increasing, which is what I was hoping to see before. But I guess if the mob farm is too far away, they may stop spawning. It could be possibly due to like a spawn cap, or I have no idea. I've never experienced this before. But now when we go down, look at that. I tell you, you gotta love that cut paste tool. Like, it's so good. Now to move us along here, we just need to start working on making the different frames. So I've got all of the crafting recipes set up for just about all of these. And one of the special things that we have to worry about is when we get into this netherite scrap. Now, the way that I'm going to be producing netherite scrap is by utilizing our fragmenting from Auratech, and I'm just sending in my ancient debris into that, which I did generate a bunch of ancient debris, by the way, from our original quarry, if you remember that several episodes ago. So now technically we have everything we need to start mining, but there is one thing I want to do before we do that, and that is drain the wither of its farts. Ether gas. Now hold up just 1 second. Look at that pick. Holy moly. Okay, yeah, I definitely want this just for the enchants alone. This pick has one of the most broken enchants on it. Boon of the Earth. That's kind of crazy. I definitely need to take this and store this in here along with the bone splitter that I also bought off of a wandering trader. Now let's make this simple. Back to the wither farts. All we're going to have to do is set up a stasis chamber, and this is going to contain a mob that is within this bound that you see right here, which is going to happen to be a wither. And then we're going to need a few blocks to basically build up 3. 1, 2, 3, just like this. And I'm going to place down a fluid laser base because we are going to be pulling fluids from a wither. And then I'm just going to connect my laser drills directly up, just like this, making it super, super simple. Then connected on top, I'm going to place an ender tank, and I'm going to make sure to set this color code to light blue, kind of matching the ether gas that we're going to be gathering. Inside of the fluid laser base, we don't have to really worry about anything other than making sure we place in a purple lens, and then on the output, we set that to push into the ender tank. Then we want to upgrade all of our laser drills, and then in the fluid laser base, we can only add an efficiency upgrade. Before we fully turn it on and give it some power, I do want to make sure to go in here and chunk load the chunk that it's in, throw some gates on here to give it some power, and then we just need to spawn in a wither. And there we go. We should start slowly producing ether gas. And just like we did on all of the others, we'll place in our new tank, but this one we are going to set to be cleared like this. And that now has ether gas in it. I know it looks like it doesn't, but whenever we drop this in, you can now see ether gas, even though I guess it took on the liquid meat that was over here. I guess it kind of got exported to the white channel. So here we are solving some more problems. Instead of using the function that drops the fluid in, I'm just going to leave all of them set to default and instead have the drawer pull. And you can use a puller upgrade set to the direction of up. And in each of these, that will pull from the container that is above it, instead of this trying to send outward. I thought this only exported to the bottom, and apparently it tries to export to the sides too. Now later on, we may need to up our production of ether gas, but for right now, I think this is going to be more than fine and allows us to make the highest tier frame. After all of that is done, now is the fun part, automating everything. Well, everything is in all of the ores from the Allthemodium mod. Let's first start with Allthemodium itself. To be able to do this and to be able to filter specifically for Allthemodium, we have to put inside of the lens slot the Allthemodium pickaxe. And there is 6 slots if I remember correctly. So I think to be the most optimal, you would probably want to put 6 Allthemodium pickaxes. And then down here, it is specifically requiring us to put this in a deep dark biome. Now I just need to make my way to the deep dark. Oh, and apparently I left myself a warden. How nice. I could probably like 2-tap this guy. It took nothing at all. But wherever we set this, we want to make sure that it is within a deep dark biome, which this definitely is a deep dark biome. For now, I'm just going to simply place the ore laser here, and then we're going to place our lasers on the outside, but I do want them facing this. And the way that this works is we just need to make sure that the laser base itself is inside of the area. So for the drill to be able to function, the laser base has to be within inside of its square. And I'm just going to be using 12 of them for now, and we're going to layer them just like this. We need to go back to this page here because it does specify a maximum Y level, and so by default, we're already at that Y level value. We just need to be below Y level 20 on this number, and -42 is that number. Then I've just got to go through the process here of making a bunch of Allthemodium pickaxes. And there we go. And like the quest says, these need to go over here inside of what would be a lens slot. And this, by the way, typically increases the weight of the particular ore you're looking for. And for now, I'm just going to go ahead and get all of these upgraded. And then we get to power it on. And this is why the gates are so nice, because you can just slap them on here. No need to configure anything. And we just let it roll. As of right now, it's only mining echo shards, but it should also mine up Allthemodium. At least it says it should. Ah, interesting. Okay, so it was doing echo shards, and then I set it to max Y level of 20. And I believe it did start farming up Allthemodium, like 2 Allthemodium popped into here, and the echo shards stopped. Ah, there we go. What I think I'm going to do right here is I'm going to set the output here to push, and then I'm going to use a dimensional chest. And this is just going to take all of our current ore, but I want this to be changed. I want to put this on frequency 2, which is going to be a separate frequency from what we're using for our other quarry. And now I have this area chunk loaded, so what we can do is pop back to the base, and let's get this configured before this gets out of hand. Actually, you know what? Frequency 1 might be a good option. We just need to increase like how quickly it's pulling items into it. So I think now's the time to take our giant storage that we've been using for our quarries. Yeah, and we're gonna use this. So you know what? I'm taking all of this stuff out of here, and I'm going to set this to frequency 1 by default, and we're going to use that one. And I think right here on this shelf is going to be a good place for this. I'm debating on whether or not I should put the barrel here. I mean, the barrel is going to work just fine. I do have to make sure that its rotation is correct. But if we have this facing, I think this way, yes, it is still pulling the stuff in, and it seems to be keeping up actually. But will it keep up when we have all of our machines running? I have no idea. But this amount of storage should be more than fine. So come on, I mean, that's a high five right there. Allthemodium we now have automated. And also many other ore and echo shards, apparently. And now we get to do the same setup, but this time we're going to be dealing with Crimson or Warped Forest as the biome requirement. And we need Vibranium pickaxes inside of this machine too, with a Y level between 100 and 123. And also at the start of the series, we did set a warp to a Warped Forest. Like this couldn't be any more perfect. Like we already have the area set up and everything. This is where I farmed my first few ender pearls. Now the only problem is things start to get a little bit more expensive as we get up into Vibranium pickaxes. We've got to do this over and over again. And we could technically automate the process of this smithing, but what's not super easy to automate the process of is making more templates. Because this is a recursive craft, AE doesn't really like that too well. Even though it does give examples for how you can do this, this is something that I'm fine with just doing by hand for now. But here we go, Vibranium pickaxes. And we are ready to set this up and give this some power. And just like our other setup, we are going to use a dimensional chest. And look at that, the first thing we farm up is Vibranium. And the depth for this, by the way, I did set to 110. Output set to push, and a dimensional chest. And yet again, another high five. Vibranium automated. Next on the list though is the Unobtainium, and this does say that we are going to need to be in a end highland. So on our way to the end again. And this should be very familiar as this is where we just set up the wither. Now I'm just going to make sure that where we're at is a end highland, which we are currently in, and get ready to set it up. Then we got to load this up with some unobtanium pickaxes, just like everything else has had us do. Perfect. All of those go in there. Then for the minimum Y and maximum Y, it's saying between 30 and 60. And so at this point, we could probably just say 40. Just put it right dab in the middle. Beautiful. With everything upgraded, we can throw on the power. And I'm pretty excited about this. This is producing unobtanium. And then we definitely want to set that to push. It looks like it also generates a bunch of other stuff. Obsidian too. Throw that into the chest, and now everything is going to be all in one place. Just got to make sure to chunk load this. Now, the cool part about using the gates is I can see on my point over here kind of how much power we're utilizing on this particular network. And so, yeah, we're pulling quite a bit of power here, like almost 20,000 RF per tick. But you know what? When it comes to generating like the Allthemodium, unobtanium and stuff, I do feel like this is probably one of the faster ways. We can scale this up to make it even faster than it currently is. Right now, I would say this is like sort of the bare minimum, just having 12 wrapped around it, but you can do way more than 12 of the lasers around it. Now, can you believe all of this just to automate all the Modium, Vibranium, and Unobtainium, all for ball production? Yes, it is quite a lot in this pack. But I think right now, it would be a good time to possibly work on defeating some trainers because I still want to get to that level 50 cap. And I mean, as much automation as I would love to continue to do, we also have the BDSP that I really want to get through. And so we have Gym Leader Candace to take on, and possibly the Galactus boss, Cyrus. Ah, yes, Team Galactic. Now, something I do want to mention talking about Mons, I have gone through, and for most of these bad boys, we do have IV stats and EV stats set to their most optimal for the most part. If they're a physical or special attacker, for example, Toxicity is set to special attack, and that is just something that it is good at. But for example, Corviknight over here, yeah, Corviknight more of a bulky mon, just simply to sort of hold out as long as possible. So its stats, I mean, are maxed out on the IVs, but HP and defense is where it's at for it. And once we get to a certain level, I can switch out to some of my other favorite Pokemon, and I can't wait to start battling with those guys. But we've got to level up first. Now, our next trainer looks like it's going to potentially be ice related, and ice is strong against dragon, flying, grass, and ground types. But it's also vulnerable to fighting fire, rock, and steel. And I do have a few fire mons, not so many fighting mons, but I have a lot of these typings. This might be a tough battle. So here we go, Gym Leader Candace. Oh, and I hope you're ready for this. All right, am I starting off with Gyarados? Like, is that even a good idea? I don't know if that is. I guess we'll have to wait and see. So I guess here we go against Gym Leader Candace. All right, let's let this rip. I hope you're ready for this. I hope I'm ready for this, honestly, because we do have Dragonmons, and apparently they're nasty against Dragonmons. Okay, but 4 times fire typing is going to really hurt. All right, I think right off the bat, Mega Evolving and Fire Blitz. And I love all of the comments, by the way. I didn't even realize Fire Blitz hits me with recoil, but yeah, you guys definitely let me know in the comments. I'm still learning quite a bit. If I could get to them, yes, and one tap them before they can even get a shot at me, I'm fine. Wow, that does do a lot of recoil damage. Okay, so this is fighting Psychic type though. A little bit different here, a little bit different, but it is weak to flying type. We could potentially wing attack if we land it. The potential of us, oh, landing it. Oh, we did it. Oh, that move has not gone my way. That was perfect. Okay, super lucky there. And then Sneasel. Ooh, okay. So 2 times fire type. So we're still good on the fire typing. I don't have any fighting type moves. I don't even have any fighting at all on my team. So that might be something we need to change. I do have a shiny Machamp? Machoke? Machamp? I think it's Machamp. Anyways, let's go ahead and hit it with Fire Blitz. If we knock ourselves out, so be it. We're good. We are so good. Okay. And that It's almost hit. We have one more. Oh boy. All right. This one's still fire type. Come on, Charizard. You have this. You definitely have this. Dude, this Charizard is insanely good. That's so good. We're just here trying to unite people within our nation. Get up out of here. Yes, you see nothing. Now that was Gym Leader Candace, which now allows us to get up to level 43, which is definitely worth doing before we take on Boss Cyrus. With their XP candies automated, it makes getting the initial level up so easy. It just happens instantaneously, and I love it. Now, I am going in completely blind here for Cyrus, so I have no idea who I'm fighting. I have no idea what Mons they're going to have. This is, yet again, going in completely blind. But I am recharged, we are leveled, and I am ready to take on this handsome fella over here. Man, I love that hair. That hair is actually kind of cool looking. All right, so we start with a Macro. Okay. So, I'm not going to be super helpful here with Charizard, but I could potentially swap out to a Gyarados, potentially. I mean, yeah, that could work. We are dark and flying type. You know what? I'm switching out to Gyarados for right now. This may be a bad move. This may be a bad move. Not too bad. Okay. And we'll try a Hurricane. That should help. Actually, no, Ice Fang. We're going to use Ice Fang. Ice Fang is so good. Okay, it missed. Oof, that's not good. It missed. I wonder if the clock is to represent speed. And so all of his Mons have high speed stats. Is that what this is about? Okay, so we have Sneasel here. Fire would be the optimal thing for this. And I am currently not rocking anything fire at the moment. We could switch out back to Charizard. The switching out seems like weird pulls for me because I never play this way. But this may be a good... Yeah, this may be good. This may be good. Okay, special defense was lowered. That's not that big of a deal at the moment. Hopefully it doesn't affect us later on down the road. Let's continue. Yes, Fire Blitz. Oh, just completely annihilated there. I love it. The Golbat's tongue, by the way, I don't what this model is absolutely absurd to me. Okay, so back again, swapping to where ice or electric would be a good option. You know what? We haven't had Toxtricity in the battle for a while, and we would have a resistance to the poison typing with Toxtricity. So it might be a good idea to switch over to our lovely amped Toxtricity and potentially hit it with, I would say a Discharge would be better. We could run a charge first. I'm just going to hit it straight with a Discharge, see if that one taps it, in which it definitely does. That's gorgeous. There we go. Toxtricity for the win again. I love its model, by the way. I mean, look at those guys. Get out of here. Sorry, I was admiring your glasses. So fancy. And that, my friends, is another victory for the Team Rocket League here. When are they going to learn? When am I going to be humbled? Who knows? Find out next episode. But in all seriousness, I hope you did enjoy today's episode. And if you did, be sure to click that subscribe button if you haven't already, and give this video, guys, a huge thumbs up, as I look forward to seeing you all in the next episode. And now, without further ado, it's time for me to thank the amazing supporter of today's episode. And that amazing thanks is going to go out to Dagon Arella. Thank you so much for your amazing support and choosing to support me over on the Discord by becoming a Discord premium member and supporting my content in one of the best ways possible. Thank you so very much. And guys, I look forward to seeing you all in the next episode. And as always, thanks for watching.